Hosea 13:16.
Hosea is a prophetic book, meaning it's not totally literal, rather it's predicting the future. And the actual verse says, their infants shall be dashed to pieces. So it's not God saying that he's going to do something to people. Rather, there is someone prophesying that there will be a horrible conflict between two groups of people.
Nope, this is flatly misreading this verse, which begins by saying Samaria will bear her guilt for rebelling against God. And the fact that this is God's punishment is reflected also in verse 14, where we have these rhetorical questions where the answer is no, God will not restrain Sheol and death. And the verse ends by saying God will not be compassionate.
Do you remember how God hardened Pharaoh's heart? God said, I want Pharaoh to do this. And then he took away Pharaoh's free will and forced him to continue to behave in a horrible way.
Not really. For God to have to actually harden Pharaoh's heart, we would have to see it soften or him become sympathetic towards the Israelites at some point. And we know that that didn't happen because of the thousands of Israelite babies the Pharaoh killed by throwing them into the Nile, and the thousands upon thousands of Israelites that Pharaoh enslaved. So his heart was pretty hardened towards the Israelites from the jump.
So two problems here. The first is that the Pharaoh that Moses was dealing with was not the Pharaoh who had all the Hebrew children killed. That Pharaoh died at the end of Exodus chapter 2. The second problem is the text of Exodus explicitly and repeatedly says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he wouldn't listen to them, heed their words, have compassion on them. So yes, the text is quite explicit. It is God who kept Pharaoh from listening to the voice of Moses and his people.
2 Kings 2:23 through 24.
Most scholars agree that because there were 42 young men approaching Elijah, that he was actually in very serious danger, and God used the bears to maul, but the Hebrew word translated indicates less than serious injuries. So
this is false on two grounds. To begin, it does not identify them as men. It identifies them as Na'arim Ketanim, which means little children. It absolutely refers to little children and not to men. Second problem is that it does not refer to less than serious injuries. The verbal root there is baka, which means to cleave or to split. And so it says that they tore them to pieces.